but there's like this little cheat code that it's not obvious for some reason, but when you know, and it's just such an upgrade. But full frame camera, prime lenses, shooting at sunrise or sunset, those three is like absolute game changer. Like whatever you do, it's just going to be so good.
Where are you right now? Are you in Toronto?
Yeah, I'm in Toronto. I'm just back at home for a bit, or maybe a while. I don't really know how long it'll be, but we'll see. Sometimes I go to Alberta and Calgary, but yeah, Toronto's home base for now. What about you guys? Are you Toronto based?
Yeah. We're both, well, you're not Toronto based, most, but
No, I like to pretend I am. I'm
like
in
those
Aurelia
guys.
right now, but I went to school in Toronto, so I like to
Nice.
say I am.
but yeah, we both went to Ryerson
Sick.
for
How was
sport
that?
media. I mean, fun. I mean,
That's
it's
a loaded
like,
question.
There's so much to say because it's like I think we all know if you're in the creative space going to school, it's like it's kind of just connecting with people. You're not going to learn much there. If you're interested to learn, you're going to learn online. You're going to buy
Yeah.
a course. You're going to meet people, whatever, watch YouTube videos. So I mean, meeting people was good. Like I definitely got a lot
Yeah,
of
the
connections
network. I
there.
always hear that from film school. Like the networking is the best part of it.
Yeah, it's pretty much just meeting guys. And there was like I think the year above or below us, I forget. That was a crazy network. Because do you know Aiden?
Yeah.
His
yeah.
Instagram is just Aiden. He went to Ryerson Film School, and like
Nice.
him, Jonah Haber as well.
Don't think so.
I think they're buddies. And then Johnny McKay is one of my friends. They're all like in film school, and they all just like work together and in the space. And like I mean,
Sick.
Aiden works for Will Smith, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's
So-
a cool gig.
It's not a bad gig. But do you think you could do the follow around a guy and like film everything in vlogs? Or are you more of like, focusing on...
yeah, I feel like I could do anything.
I love that.
Well, I feel like you
Yeah.
can do anything, but do you want to do that
Am
work
I interested in being a travel vlogger?
Yeah. For someone else. Because I feel like it's
I
different.
guess I'd be interested in working for someone else more than myself, just because there's that accountability and structure that you get when you have to deliver to someone else, Whereas being self-motivated and like, all right, I'm going to set myself a bunch of like aggressive deadlines and like push it. Like I'm not as motivated as much as that as when I'm working with someone else. And like, there's like a mutual collaborative goal,
Yeah, but like, and that's something you have to find in yourself, I feel like it's sometimes it's hard to become self-aware. Like, where did you find you learned that side of yourself and that part of your personality where you like you said, you like working for other people because it has this
Yeah.
structure and has this like urgency that maybe you don't have with yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just over time, like realizing that, maybe I don't really want to go pick up a camera and walk around for hours shooting and then go and edit by myself. Like sometimes like here and there, but like when it's like together, there's like teamwork, and then it's just a lot more engaging and interesting and collaborative. And that, I guess that's just way more appealing to me.
I'm the exact same way because I tried doing YouTube and I actually watched your one. You were cleaning the A7S3 or A7 III sensor, and you saying in your bio, I thought you were trying to do more YouTube. Did you try doing that video and then you thought maybe I just want to like work with other people more than just for myself? Is that like...
So I've made like 10 videos, but my bottleneck right now is editing. Like if I don't do
Yeah.
it the same day, I'm kind of like, ooh, there's
You
like
put it off.
10 edits to do,
Yeah.
But I'm getting an editor. I've got a couple people in mind. So once that figures it out, it's all like nice, organized, transcoded projects I can just like delegate, and then we'll just bang them out, and then I'll just have a bunch of content. Then I can be a lot more consistent with posting. But that shoot and edit was just a couple hours. So I was like, oh, just bang, it's out right now. So if it's simple, it's like way easier to just like crush that same day. And then I feel good about it. And I'm like just down to like post it and get it out.
Yeah,
But
you're
it's
so
also
right.
easy to fall into the trap of like chasing perfection and just being like paralyzed and overwhelmed by like, I could make this better. Like, oh, I could shoot another scene for this or integrate this. And then you just like get overwhelmed and just like, ugh, not into it.
I so feel that. Why do you think it's so tough to get back into it the next day? Because I feel that too. Like I'll be so jazzed up for a project, and then I'll leave it for like a week, and I'll be like, no part of me wants to get back into this project.
Yeah. I guess part of it is related to overwhelm and having too many options. I found sometimes in my life when it was really simple, it was just very clear, and you'd have absolute clarity going into each project. But when you wake up the next day, it's like, well, I've got an 80 terabyte hard drive beside me and like 100 projects I could edit. Like, which one do I do? So like something like writing down exactly what you're going to do tomorrow, step by step, or like committing to it in your calendar can help, having that clarity, that absolute clarity and simplicity. Just like, I'm not going to do anything else today except spend 2 hours editing that video. That helps a lot with me, because like if I just get up and I'm like, all right, like sitting in front of the laptop, like let's edit, it's like there's 100 projects. It's hard to choose,
Mm-hmm. So I want to go back in time. I feel like we're in the present right now, but like, how did you get started in the whole space? So you're Toronto born and raised, I'm assuming?
Yeah, Toronto born and raised. So my dad had a Canon Rebel XTI or something, and he would shoot photos all the time, and he'd print them like little 8x10 prints and hang like maybe 1 to 200 of them all around the house at a time. And he'd always be like shooting and printing, go on a trip, like shoot more, print more. And he would just a hobbyist, like nothing professional. I guess that inspired me a lot. So then I started using his camera, getting up for sunrise, sunset, getting some cool lighting, and, using that all the time when I could. And then at some point, I think in 2010, I got my first Canon T2i, which was like the craziest camera ever at the time. It was all the rage for $950, the kit lens. And then I started doing nightclub photography at I think I was 18, and I got a job doing nightclub photography. I think my friend in high school, a girl, she was like, hey, my friend's throwing this party. Do you want to come? And I was like, do they need a photographer? Because I'm ready. And so I did that, and that was like my first gig. And I remember like being in the clubs with like a fake ID, like shooting photos of all these people, and they're like, oh, photographer. That was like when photography was like sick. It was like, whoa, you have a DSLR, that's insane. And everyone's like, whoa, look at those photos, the quality, it's so crazy. And then so that was pretty hype. So I developed my workflow over that. And then at one point I got this award for being Toronto's best nightclub photographer.
Wait, no way. What does that say on it? What does it say on it? Is there like
TorontoNightclub.com 13th annual nightclub awards, Toronto Nightclub Awards, best nightclub photographer, Jakob Burkhardt, with a Bacardi sponsor.
Was how stiff was the competition? How many other people were competing at that time?
There was definitely a bunch of photographers, because like every nightclub in Toronto, when like clubbing was like a thing to do on the weekends, had photographers, like 1 or 2 at least. And there's probably at least like 20 or 30 shooters at a time, just out there every night in the trenches, Friday, Saturday, just shooting everyone. And
well, I gotta hear. I gotta know, what was the speech when you received your award? What did you say? Was it like a show?
I don't know if you did speeches. I can't remember. I don't remember doing a speech, but it was just like all the homies.
An acceptance speech.
I worked with this nightclub promotion group where it was like a bunch of homies from Woodbridge, and we'd always be clubbing for a few years. I guess 2010 to 2013, the end of 2013. But after I won that award, I was just kind of like, all right, like there's no ceiling for this at this point. Like, I think I've kind of maxed out. Time to move on, do bigger, better things. Then I got into like music festivals and shit like that. And yeah. And
then from music festivals, like, where did you go from there? Because I know that a Rudes we had on the podcast, and he like linked me saying that you might be interested in coming on, and he was actually working in the nightclub scene as a DJ as well as a photographer. I forget exactly what he did on the other side, not just DJing. Did you meet him there, or did you meet him through the music festival stuff?
I I think it was the nightclub scene. I think I was doing, yeah, I think it was just like an event we were both at. Either like he was doing video, I was doing photo, and then like the natural like, oh, hey, what's up, bro? Like, sick camera. And then we just like were mutuals. But it's kind of like you just meet photographers, filmmakers, and you just like instantly network, you know, in the scene.
Yeah. And you always have that talking point of like gear. There's always those like things you can just chat about easily with the people too.
Yeah.
So like, what was it like working at the music festivals? Like, was it a lot of after movie work? Were you working with other production companies, or was it like working with artists?
Yeah. So I guess some of the bigger ones were like Digital Dreams and Veld. Those ones were pretty cool. We're shooting those. I think I don't know what year it was, maybe 2014. I had 2 5D Mark IIIs hacked shooting Magic Lantern RAW, and I was doing stereoscopic 3D. So I'd have like 2 of them with 35 mils on, and then I'd record both of them at the same time, and then in post you'd be like left, right, but each frame, so like, so it would look like this cool effect. That was one like cool trick back in the day. I haven't tried that since. But yeah, that was when like we were just getting into 360 stuff, and like everyone in the crew put their like GoPro Hero 5 or 4, whatever it was, together, and like we had like this ball of 360s, and there's this one shot where it transitioned into the eye, and then like one 360. Probably took like a week to render, but it managed to do it. Now it'd be just so easy to do that. But yeah, that was like trying to innovate and tell cool stories and create cool visuals back in 2014. It's a different game for sure.
And what was the turnaround like on projects like those? So you go and shoot the festival or the concert?
3 months.
3 months. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't the main editor by any means, but yeah, like by the time music licensing got cleared from all the like artists, because they'd have you know, a lot of different production labels to, you know, contact, deal with, like get the licensing, lock it in, and then like picture lock, color, sound, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it was like 3 months. It was a long time. Now you could do it in like probably a week if you just booked off editors ahead of time and got super organized. And then by the time everyone gets back to you, it's like, yeah, it just takes a while.
So you were doing that in 2014 and whatnot. And then when I was like, you know, going through your Instagram and just trying to see like your story throughout the years, I saw you like connected with Sam Kolder. Then you guys were traveling and you were doing the whole travel videography storytelling scene. Like, can you explain that transition from like, you know, 2014 into like 2017, 18, 19 when you were traveling?
For sure. So 2014 was kind of falling into the trap of, oh, I do everything. Like, yeah. So like, you know, weddings, events, corporate videos, editing jobs, photography, video. And I didn't really niche out, which is a common mistake a lot of people make, because someone comes at you like, hey, here's $1,000. Do you want it? And it's like, why not? And like, yeah, I can do that. Definitely way better to niche out and pick a subject that you want to focus on. But at one point I was just kind of like, man, like I'm not getting where I want to be. Like I thought I was going to be a millionaire at 25. Like it's 2015. Like what's going on? So I kind of just took a bit of a break from photo and video and just kind of like took a big step back. And at one point I was like, what do I really want? Like, what's the goal here? Like I confidently believe that I can do anything, but like, what is it? Because like I don't want to do it all. So I had to pick a niche and one focus. And I took like this 6-month period where I like stopped talking to like everyone I knew, because I just wanted to like go a deep dive of like self-development. And I found out what I was looking for and my one thing that I wanted to do, which was to travel and shoot. I was like, okay, like if I could only do one thing, what would it be? And I wrote down like the top 10 things I'm most interested and passionate about that bring me joy and that I'm skilled at. And then I just like sat on them for a while, and travel and shoot just came like shooting through the list. Like that'd be the dopest thing, to travel the world and shoot sick videos. So then once I really like realized that, I focused on that, thought about it, and like manifested it. So between the time where I had absolute clarity and focus on that one goal and realizing it, and then, you know, working with Sam full time was like maybe 2 months. I hit him up and I was like, yo man, like, do you need any help? Like, I'll do anything. Like if you need help editing, like production, like project management, like I can do everything. And I could, cause like I was pretty versatile and had a bit of skill in everything, like directing, shooting, editing, everything. And he was like, yeah, actually, perfect timing, because I just left Beautiful Destinations and I really need help with some stuff right now. So we went to Iceland for a week, and then I was just full time from then, like helping him out with everything. And then I was his manager for the first year or so. And then I hired someone else to do his management, because I was like just answering too many emails. I was like, I'd rather just be shooting, you know? So then that was really a sweet spot when I could just travel and shoot. And we just worked with so many like big brands, so many cool projects, so many epic trips, tourism gigs. And yeah, it was fucking, it's crazy. It's like the best thing I've ever done, for sure.
I love this whole scene because I'm going to reference, I think his name's Jay Alvarez, went on Impulsive. I listened to his like stories of like going through Jordan and like, you know, all these like crazy stories where you're like, you know, collaborating with locals and like shit might go wrong. Like, do you have any like crazy stories where maybe you had to, you know, like try and save your life out on the scene when traveling?
Save my life. I don't know about saving my life. There was like opportunities where it's like you could blow it and die, like walking on rooftops and stuff. That was definitely fun.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Like I remember his video, My Year 2016 or something. There was a lot of like rooftop shots. Like how'd you guys get to a lot of these locations? Because I know there's one in Toronto. It was like down, it has to be south, like on like Front Street, those like buildings with like, it almost looks like a halo over top of them. You know which ones I'm talking about? I think so.
Yeah. So basically you find your local rooftopper and they they just walk to the top of the stairs, and sometimes the door's open or sometimes like wiggle it open, and then you're just on the roof. Then you just go up there, then you're on the roof. It's like super simple. But yeah, there's kids that like do it all the time. They just like that's their thing. They just go and do that all the time.
And how do you find these guys? Do you like search on Craigslist for Toronto rooftoppers? It doesn't seem that easy.
No, I mean like there are a lot of hashtags and like shit you can follow. Like, you know, there's accounts that just are filled with rooftopper photos. But yeah, like if you know the plug, then they'll just take you anywhere, and they know like every fucking spot. Like they know how to get in, do all that. So you just go anywhere, and like at most cities. But yeah.
Yeah, those shots were wild, and like walking on like the edge of the rooftops is crazy. Like
yeah,
did you ever see yourself getting to that spot where it's like I'm making content like this? Like before it was corporate or doing music concert or music festivals and stuff. Like how weird was it traveling the world for you? That switch that happened so quick in a matter of a couple of years.
I mean, it wasn't weird. I've done like world travels before, but it was like really epic and fun and cool, you know, like it was everything I wanted to do at the time. And yeah, it was dope. Yeah.
Follow-up question. If you, and maybe this is tough, but if you think back to the first time that you're on a roof and you're like shooting something, what are you feeling when you're in that moment?
It's just like an adventure, you know, like if you sneak up on there and then you're like, you know, like, oh shit, are we gonna get caught? Like, or like, you know, this looks sketchy or whatever. It's just like fun and adventurous, you know? you get like the coolest shots, you get in and out of there real quick, and it's just a blast.
So what was it like? So you're traveling with Sam, and I'm sure you had some other guys you were traveling and shooting with. Like, was it like a pack of guys going around?
For the most part, it was just me and him, and depending on the projects, like we did a Hyundai project in France, and we brought a couple homies out. Aruds was one of them, and
nice,
Valdez was another one. And
we were talking to Val, about coming on the pod. Really interesting guy.
Did Val do a podcast with you guys too?
Like we had a phone call, just getting acquainted because he wanted to just like hear from me before like he wanted to hop on, and then he was like super down for it, but he hasn't replied to my texts since. Been a couple of weeks, but maybe we'll get him on soon. But his stories that he referenced were like wild. Like he's like, I'll tell you the desert story, the Post Malone story in LA, and that like house.
Dude, Val's a really good storyteller. Like he's really interesting and smart, and he has like a really great, captivating way to tell stories. Like you should 100% get him. I'll call him after this and tell him to get on, because
that'd be great.
You'll want those stories. His stories are amazing.
And a great one he wants to tell me is the story of Korea Tyler. Do you know this guy?
Oh yeah. I don't know his story of that though.
So. He just said like, I'll give you the breakdown, because my perception of Korea Tyler is through the Cody Ko video where it's like blue ass water, that whole meme of like these influencers who live like a fake life, and they kind of just like prey on people who want to like get out of, a shitty situation by like, look at this, what I can do traveling the world filming this, like that whole meme joke thing. So he kind of like exposed Korea Tyler and made a joke out of it. And then everyone kind of thought of Korea Tyler as this like kind of like phony fraud, I guess. And he's like, no, trust me. Like, I know this kid. He is like a genius, like smart guy, plays into the character. And like, he's changed his life just through what he's done. So I kind of want to hear the story behind a guy who people may not think of in a high regard. That's pretty much what it is.
There's always that, the media perspective. And then there's like, no, that's my homie. Like, here's what's real,
Yeah,
for sure.
I want to go into like, sorry, Mose, do you want to say something?
I was just gonna jump in on the influencer scene, because you write some of the funniest hashtags. I'm gonna rattle off 2 or 3 here. You have influencer in a helicopter, hashtag helicopters have influence, and hashtag be influenced by this helicopter. What's the inspiration behind this, and why did you start?
What's really happening?
That's just fucking around. I don't really take Instagram too seriously. I like to make fun of it, and I definitely had a unique position traveling with the heavyweights, like the biggest influencers, because like they get like 7-star hotel shit, and like it's because they're such legends and they're doing all these like deliverables to their audience. But then like I'm the video guy and photo guy who's like traveling with them, and like I just happen to also get a fucking 7-star hotel. So it's like, what the hell? Like I didn't deserve this. Like why do I have this? And then so I could just like be an asshole, and like it didn't matter. Like I still got like similar privileges, and so it's just really funny, because like I would just travel around and get like all this shit, and like could just joke around and be an idiot, and like no one cared, like it was just hilarious.
I love that.
I would always just like be like satire and like mock kind of the influencer vibes, just because like some like it looks cool as fuck. Helicopters are cool as fuck. Like it's so fun and cool to be in a helicopter, but it's like I get to do that shit, but then I also don't have to like make it look cool. I just like get to be funny and do all the same shit.
I love that. And then just one follow up, and Will, you can take it away.
Yeah.
Where did the horse head come from? Because I was scrolling through the gram and I see the horse head popping up all over the place.
You guys had a bunch of those in those travel videos.
That was just like the first vlog we went to Iceland. I just brought some like random shit, because I was like, obviously we're gonna be doing dope shit. Like I'm just gonna dick around and be funny, because that's fun, like that's me. So I like put on the horse head and like went to the horses, and that was like a really funny scene, and like would just fuck around. I just always carried around, like I'd have the camera bag and like this epic location looks so sick, and then I'd like put the horse head on, and just like what the fuck is that? Like
but it's good. It like brings levity to like kind of this like serious travel video, It's like
exactly,
like brings something different to the table where it's like, oh shit, okay, haha, like it's just weird, and that's great.
Yeah.
It just adds another element.
Exactly. Yeah, it's always good to be unique and switch it up.
I also have to
own
mention
thing.
another IG video you posted, which I love, was how cleaning your house on Adderall or something, like house cleaning Adderall
Yeah.
edition, and
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
like cleaning like crazy. I love that. It's so, you can almost do a follow up of like Adderall cleaning your camera equipment. That'd be pretty funny.
Oh, that's
Just
a good
like-
idea. I should do that. I was actually about to do one labeling my lenses because I got this label maker and I was gonna do like doing a super organized, like meticulous
Yeah.
way, but I should probably just do some Adderall and then film that video.
100%. I wanted to dive into like collaborating with Sam and other creatives who you said were like, you know, these like superstars. Like, how much did you learn in those periods of time? Like, what was it like picking their brains and collaborating with people? Like, did you see yourself grow exponentially in that period of time? Like, what was that experience like?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like the fastest way to learn is to get like right beside masters in action, and you just see what they do. You see how they operate, you see how they think, you do what they do, and then like you've now just downloaded that you know, firmware update, or it's like, okay, cool, now I know how to shoot this. And just like being beside someone and watching them perform at high levels, it's, you know, super inspiring and obviously educational. So yeah, definitely being in the editing room, like shooting on location, it's like, yep, sick, like just huge upgrade in every way.
And just to get like practical, and like maybe this would be cool for our audience to hear, is like, what would be like, is there anything like notable that you remember that you didn't know about until you work with these guys? Like, is there like a thing that you can maybe share with us and our listeners? Like, what was that like thing that we're like, oh my God, this is so sick, I need to start doing this more? Or like something you took away?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things, but there's like this little cheat code that I it's not obvious for some reason, but when you know, and it's just such an upgrade. But full frame camera, prime lenses, shooting at sunrise or sunset, those three is like absolute game changer. Like whatever you do, it's just going to be so good. And just find a really dope location. That's like it. And look for compositions. And then in editing, you just put the best song you can find with the best shots you have in a timeline. And it's like, it's going to be dope.
But when it comes to editing, what about like pacing it? Like, were there many discussions about like, how do we, like, what shots do we go where? And then how do we slow down and speed up the edit? Like, were there a lot of discussions like that you had with these guys where it's like they had insights that maybe you didn't know at the time, or maybe you both knew, but it's just something that's interesting you could share?
I think it's just a bit of a feeling when it comes to the footage and the song. You know, like if you have a song that's like and then like goes into slow, like you're obviously gonna change the pace, and you know, in relation to how the song feels and what the song's like. But I would definitely highly recommend creating a huge body of work so that you get familiar with that feeling. There's this one, my favorite artist, Beeple Crap on Instagram. For sure, check him out. He's a digital artist and he does these 3D virtual worlds and these renders every day. So he's been doing them every day for it's like 13 or 14 years or something, which is like insane. But he does like one piece of art and shares it before 12 a.m. every day on Instagram. And his work's insane. It's like the best I've ever seen, and he's my favorite artist. But I think like one of his key like routines is doing it every single day, you know, creating a giant body of work. If you made 365 videos, like even if they're vlogs, even if they're like little iPhone edits, even if they're like 5-second videos or anything, you'd get way better. You'd get exponentially better like every single time you do it. So it's just a journey that I'd highly recommend you go on and just make a huge volume of work, you know, with like a deadline and that urgency, and chase that. Because, you know, motivation is like It's something that you do. It's not something that you're just like, oh, I'm really motivated today, I'm going to create 100 videos over the next year. It's like you make a video and you're like, sick. And then you share it. And then like you make another video and you're like, amazing. Like I'm on a roll. So like you get motivation by doing it. So just do it, you know?
You enter like a flow state. Like when you get in that rhythm of like, yeah, every Friday I'm shooting something and like I'll edit it for next week. And it's like every time you do it, it's like enforcing that groove, that pattern of behavior. And it just sticks over
100%.
time.
And the fastest way to get to mastery is by practice. You know, anyone that is extremely talented at what they do, it's effortless, you know. It's like, oh yeah, I'll just like bang out this video, and meanwhile someone standing by on the sidelines that's never done it, it's like, but they're like, oh yeah, like just do like an establisher, like get some detail shots, like a couple whip pan transitions, outro, we're done, let's edit this, okay, we're done. It's like it's so effortless when you're in the flow, for sure.
I was going to say, one thing I noticed with people who are like high performers and who get really good in their space, it's not just the practice. That's obviously like a huge pillar. But what I notice is it consumes their mind. Like when they're like on the subway, they're thinking about what they want to do. When like they're talking to friends, they bring it up quite frequently. Like they're always kind of thinking and like visualizing the things they want to do, whether it's shooting or editing. And it's almost like from there, you're actually practicing, not at the computer. It's more of like, you actually are pragmatic and touching the things that you need to do to get better, but you're also just consuming your mind and like your worldview around what's cool or what you want to shoot and what you want to get better at. You know what I mean? Like that's what I've noticed is the difference. So like, did you notice that when you work with some guys or even with yourself, like do you constantly think and like put your mindset in that creative mind, like creative space, like every day, all day, or not every day, but a lot of days?
Yeah, one thing that is similar to what you're talking about, I believe, is like watching a movie after being a filmmaker. And it's just like you're thinking about every camera angle. Like,
yeah, it's like you took the limitless pill.
Like that rack focus, like, oh, that like crane up, like that drone shot, like what lens were they using? Like, oh my God, they blew the lighting on this. I would have done so much better by doing blah, 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 blah. That was like a huge distractor just because like you're thinking in terms of like, you know, visuals and how you see it. But yeah, like everything's like you just look around and you think like in terms of frames and you know, oh, this would be a sick time to drone, you know, this sunset's crazy.
I love that. So we're in, I don't even know what month we're in. We're in a pandemic. And I think it really challenges some video people because you can't go out and shoot anymore. It's like, how do I be creative? How do you approach that question? And like, do you have some strategies that you've been leaning on just to like get things out and like kind of stay close to the work?
Yeah, definitely. The huge body of work mission is a great way to do it. You know, being on a deadline, having the mission of like, I'm going to create 100 videos because I'm going to be 100 times better after that. You know, always getting into it. And then like, if you're really like in a stagnant state and you're just like so bored and uninterested, just like call a homie up and like do a collab, you know, and like try your best if you can to just get it out same day. That way you start that momentum and you have that accountability to get out of that stagnant state and you just like get firing right away, you know, like, yo, let's just go shoot downtown and we'll, you know, cool location scout and do a photo walk and take some pictures of this and shoot some video clips, or we'll do a test with the gimbal. I want to try this new technique where we do a forward motion sequence and just cut on beat with the subject in the middle, like whatever. Like you could do anything. There's unlimited things you can do, but sometimes if you're just really bored and stagnant, just like call a homie up for some accountability and just get into it.
For the 1 day turnaround specifically, if you could give one tip, what would be the most useful tip for getting that footage shot and edited in the same day?
Don't overshoot like crazy because then it can become overwhelming and unfortunate.
That's huge.
But
I get overwhelmed by that too. Oh.
Yeah, like I've got the R5 and you can't edit this footage until it's transcoded, and I couldn't even edit it in Premiere, so I just switched to Final Cut. I was like, fuck Premiere because I can't edit with my new camera. And it does auto transcoding on import, which is amazing. It'll just make ProRes files. So as soon as I get home, I dump my footage, dump my card. It takes like, 3 to 10 minutes. And then I make a project, keep it super organized, start the transcoding process, and then like, debrief my gear, like charge batteries, do this, do that. But like the first thing I do is get transcoding ready and the project file. And then once it's like, usually takes about an hour, maybe 2, if I shoot like a full 500 gigs, then it's just ready to edit. And then I scrub through and then like select my in and out points. And I'm like in, out, add to timeline, in, out, add to timeline, in, out, add to timeline. And it's just like rip through 100 clips in like maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. And then you have like your base cut, you have selects, once you have selects, it's like, okay, well, that's way easier now. Finding a song is, sometimes I'll spend 2 hours just finding a song with the edit like ready to flow out of me, but I just have to find a song because like if you don't have a good song, it's weird, just like
it's the foundation.
So having really dope playlists on Spotify is a huge play, or whatever, or DJ mixes. You can download them from SoundCloud or rip them off YouTube or whatever. And then you just have a bunch of dope music to go through. Then you can scrub through. And if you listen to them already, you already know what's coming. So like you're familiar with what kind of songs could work. Because you could have like 30 dope songs that you love that are like really good for videos, but not the video you're making. So if you're familiar with them, you can just rip through them really fast. So having good music on standby, not like randomly looking from scratch, but going through your like video cutting playlist that you already have, that's a big play because it's just a lot faster and effective. But I still spend an hour, 2 hours sometimes looking for the perfect song, and then just cut, like drop the song in, just like trim down, trim the fat, and then you just have a dope edit. I'm not that good at like, say I have a selects of like 100 dope shots, not dope shots, 100 shots. I'm not good at like picking 10 and being like, all right, that's my final edit. But I am good at like taking like 20 out at a time until I have like the best. And then I'm like, okay, cool. I like where this is at. And it's also one refreshing, like supporting idea for the same day edits is like, you did that in a couple hours. It's not like you spend weeks like building this video and it's like, oh, like I'm a master video guy, like it's perfect. Like it's like I did this in a couple hours, whatever. It's a fucking Instagram post. Like who cares? Like I'm not that attached to it. And you excuse yourself from the imperfection by being like same day edit or like hashtag same day edit. Cause then it's like, oh, you did this in a day? Well, that's dope. Like good for you. Like I support that, even though like it's like whatever B-roll with like random speed ramps. Like cool that you did that in a day. Like good for you. I don't do same day edits every day. Like fuck yeah, it's like way doper. But if you're like spending 3 weeks on a video and then it's like super average, it's like why'd you waste your time? So I kind of like that excuse to be like, oh, same day edit, like whatever, like what did you do today? I did a same day edit, it was fun. So yeah.
Just to clarify one thing, when you're talking about the music playlist, that's happening like curating good music for videos. That's happening away from the edit. You're doing that after dinner. You're doing that other times.
Yeah, but also when I'm looking for music, I'm like, okay, well, like let me heart this or like add it to a playlist or like video playlist, like high energy, slow, whatever, and then then you build it as you go. But like don't waste like 2 hours looking for a song and not build a playlist with that. Like you're going through that anyways.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's huge.
And it sets you up for the future. One also really good thing about Spotify is whenever I collab with someone, like we'll make a shared playlist. So we're both putting our own songs in, and it made me think right away. I'm just thinking of this now. Like I feel like with my creative friends and video friends, it's like, why not have a playlist with like a bunch of guys who all make videos, and just whenever you get something dope, you just put it in, and then you can fast track to find stuff you like in that one playlist.
That is a cool idea if you're not attached to the idea of sharing your trade secrets, like, oh, this is my song, like no one can steal. this is so good. Like, I've never heard anyone make an edit to this song. It's like this secret song. I'll be the first guy to make an edit to this song and I'll be so cool. Yeah, if you don't give a shit about that, for sure. But like maybe save your best like favorite ever tracks for your own little playlist and like
yeah, for sure.
The like like whatever, that's a dope song.
Well, I'm hoping that, sorry to interrupt you there, but I was gonna say like I would probably only share this playlist with people who would like respect if I said this is the song I'm gonna use. Like you can check it out, but like let me make this to it or whatever. But I want to go a little back in time to like the beginning, like early 2020. So like everyone thinks everything's all good. And then early March, COVID hits and everything changes. How did your life change as a creator transitioning into the pandemic? Because I know everyone has their own story. Some people blow up and like it's been never better than ever. And some people it's like, holy shit, my life changed for the worst. I have to now adapt and find my new aim in life in my space.
Yeah, for sure. So I was traveling the world full time with Karma Gao, which is a really cool charity. My friend Tim Sykes, he does like stock educational videos, and I was helping him shoot stuff, and I would like help with charity videos on the side. They do like documentaries and like productions, and like they sell their merch and like donate it all to charity. So I was working with them, and well, we were traveling full time, and then when like Corona hit big time in March, we were in LA and we just were at an Airbnb, and then we just kind of like hung out on standby until like May, and then it was like, all right, like this is over for now, like we're not doing any more trips, because we had crazy trips planned for the year, but then it just was like
heartbreaking.
This like
what was the feeling what was that feeling you had? Sorry to cut you off, but that feeling of like you had your year planned and then you just saw it just like leave your like the grasp of like your idea of the year. Like what was that like feeling like inside when you're like, holy shit, I lost this?
Honestly, I was not that like jarred by it. I feel like I've done so much traveling, and sometimes to the point of burnout where it's like, okay, like this is too much traveling. Like, traveling is exhausting. So I wasn't like, distraught and devastated. I was like, okay, like whatever. I'm very much go with the flow, like something terrible happens, I'm kind of like, cool, like whatever, like I'll figure it out. Like it's cool. I'm down. Like I'm sure it'll be fine. It's always fine. It's always okay. People like worry about things so much, but like in the end, it's always okay. So I was like chill. I was like, whatever, cool. Hung out in California, LA, SF, San Francisco for a bit, and then eventually just went back to Toronto and got to spend some time with the fam, got to do some cottaging in the summer, and then winter hit and kind of just been cruising since. I haven't, like, if I could go back and do it differently, I guess, I mean, hindsight's 2020, but I didn't know that like it wasn't some like deadly thing. So like the first, month or whatever, you're hanging with people like, oh my God, we're gonna die. Like it's like fear mongering. It's like, damn, like, is this shit that serious? But like, I mean, in my opinion, it kind of seems like the flu that's like wrongly overhyped by the media, but also it's a thing and like be safe, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, it's not really an issue. I don't feel like my life changed that much. I guess like the traveling aspect was a huge difference, but I'm chilling. I'm still making videos, like starting on YouTube a little bit, and like cruising, still shooting commercials here and there and doing collabs. I'm having fun.
But Mose, before you jump in, so do you know Alex T? He's one of my friends, and he told me like you guys worked together a couple times. You know Alex? He said you guys met at the gym at the YMCA.
Oh, yeah.
Alex, and he was saying that you made a studio in your garage.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear the story behind building that thing, what it took. Just like, I find that so cool because it's something I think a lot of creators want to do is have their own studio. And like what does your garage look like? What's the setup?
Yeah, it's so it's a detached garage from the house. It's got 14-foot ceilings. It's pretty big. It's a nice space. I don't know how long it is. Maybe 40 feet long. It's a pretty good sized space. And my mom does painting in there. And it's, well, basically I've had this thing for about maybe 10 years. And I used to do photo shoots in here all the time. Like I'd get all my clients. I've probably done like at least 300 shoots in there just from the past, probably more. Because I used to be like full-time photography, filmmaking. And I just set up a bunch of gear there, set up backdrops, rigged them to the ceiling. And they have like these pulleys you pull down, and then I set up 10 lights on these poles that I rigged to the side of the wall, and like you can maneuver them anywhere. I was going to get the sky rail system, but I found after some research it was a bit less maneuverable than I would have liked, because you're kind of locked on those rails. So I've got like 8 of these arms that come down and can go anywhere and like cover the whole space, and you can rig up any different kind of lights on there. So I put all LEDs in there, and yeah, you just roll down a backdrop, turn the lights on, and start having a blast. Got a bunch of modifiers, strip boxes, soft boxes, octoboxes, grids, color gels. Yeah, it's a dope little studio. Just painted the ceilings, painted the walls, painted the floor, and just shot.
That's super dope, man. What were you gonna say? Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I want to go back to traveling. So if I'm a complete noob at traveling, I want to get into video. What were some of the most valuable things you did to take care of your body and take care of your mind so that you didn't get burnt out?
Sleep.
Sleep.
Yeah, there's a really good method discovered by the military, but it's the 3-7-8 method. Been talking about this for the past couple of days, but you breathe in for 3 seconds, you hold for 7 seconds, and then you breathe out for 8 seconds. And once you do this process for like a few minutes, you'll just fall asleep instantly. You know, it just clears your mind. You focus only on your breath. Your racing mind goes from like, what am I going to do, to like, breathe in, breathe out, counting numbers. And you're just like, this is so boring, and you're out. And when you do this for like 2-3 weeks, and you practice it every day and like often, you just get really good at it. And like, it takes you 30 seconds to fall asleep. It's amazing. Would 100% recommend to every human. They should teach that in school. I don't know why they don't.
I needed this last night. I was like, it was like midnight, or it was like 11:30. I'm trying to sleep, and I was like, holy fuck, I can't sleep. I can't. It's just, I don't know what's going on.
Every night, Russ, don't look at a screen like for an hour before you try and sleep, if you can help it. And blue light glasses, if you can, will help kind of that blue glaring white light, because it's like naturally our bodies, when you wake up and see like bright ass sunshine, your circadian rhythm goes like, okay, it's time to wake up. But like if you're looking at that 11 a.m., you're just like, you know, like up north in like Alaska, when it's there's only like 4 hours of darkness during the day, sometimes during the year, and like you'll just stay up and go crazy because it's so light. It's like light is what makes you stay up, makes your body stay up, you know? So like light some warm lights, or, you know, candles, and like read a book and just chill out, and then, you know, no screens, and just go to sleep. Exercise when you can, I guess, would be the other one, and eat healthy whenever possible.
It's tough on the road. It's tough on the road because you get all out of sort. My follow-up to that is, are you a guy that edits in the morning, or do you edit at night, or is it just kind of whenever? Do you have a preference?
Lately, I've only been doing it at night.
Oh, that's dangerous, because I do that too sometimes, but then I can't fall asleep. I'm just like, I'm thinking about the edit and I can't let it go.
When I'm finished, it's like I've accomplished the edit. So like I do the same day thing. Like lately it's been, I mean, I've been good not staying up too late. But usually like the flow is like go shoot until about like 8, and then like, you know, transcode to like 9 or something, and then like edit like 10, 11, 12, 1 or something. I don't know why. There's no distractions. Like no one's asking anything from you. You can't go do anything. Like no one's calling you. No one's like trying to set this thing up. It's just like, it's just silence and like quiet and dark, and like you're not going outside for sure. Like, yeah, it's just like pure focus, you know? I wouldn't recommend it, but like that's the only time I ever get any work done.
So I think this has been great. Like, is there anything else you want to ask Mose before we end this episode?
No, we got so much, and I think our audience is going to get so much value out of this. So that's it for me.
Yeah, it was really interesting hearing about
good shit, boys.
The tips you had.
Good chat.
Is there anything you want to like plug? Just close out here before I end the show.
Follow me on Instagram and YouTube if you want.
Oh, and one last thing. What was that charity that you were working for? Because we'll send people there as well.
Yeah, Karmagawa. They're really dope. Really.
How do you spell that? Karma. So Karma. What's the Gawa?
Karmagawa. Karmagawa.
All right. This has been great, man. Thanks so much for coming on. Make sure to check out this episode on YouTube. We post the clips on IG and everywhere else at RnR Podcast. Give us a follow, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next week. See ya.